All right, so welcome to Coffee with Markus. In today's shows, we'll talk about what's happening in the markets because it is crazy. We got to take a look at this, but it will only take us 2 minutes or so. And then today, I'll give you an update on my accounts. So with all this craziness going on in the markets, how are my accounts doing? Did I achieve my goal of making $15,000 in February or did I miss it? Next, I'll show you my current trades and also how my positions are doing. And after this, I will answer your questions. So put them in the chat and I'll answer as many as I can later in the show. As you can see, we have a super full program. So let's get started. This show is about real money and real trades. I'll show you the trading strategies that I personally trade, the tools that I use to trade my own accounts, and we will talk about the right mindset of a trader. Now, talking about mindset, I'm going to show you how to create SRC profits. And SRC stands for systematic, repeatable, and consistent, because that is the key to long-term success in the markets. So, if you are sick of all the hype and empty promises, and you want to learn trading strategies that actually work, then click on like right now and let's get started. All right, let's get started. Lots to talk about. So let's actually start with what is happening in the markets. And right now, it seems that the bottom is falling out of the market. The S&P today down 2.6%. The S&P 500. And if we look at a 5-minute chart, we opened slightly lower and then just have been sliding ever since. Same here for the NASDAQ. I mean, the NASDAQ down 3.2% right now. And even the Dow down 2%. So at the same point, we have the yield creeping up a little bit. Not a whole lot here, but the VIX actually soaring. So at high levels here of 35. So what is happening in the markets? Why? What is happening? Well, we have the war in Russia, Ukraine, and crude oil has been spiking. I mean, today is Monday. Last night, as we open the futures markets on a Sunday evening, we see that crude oil was spiking at 130. It has then retreated to around 116, but as you can see, still swinging wildly. And this is where right now the concern is that because of higher crude oil prices and higher commodity prices, we will have a problem with inflation. And I mean, we already had a problem. We had problems with inflation already. And this is where the markets are super nervous, because what is happening here with this war, there doesn't seem to be any end in sight just yet. I mean, Putin says, well, I want to see that my demands are met. And before that is happening, I'm continuing the war. And that's, of course, not what we want to hear. So markets are nervous and going down. So the key question is that we have when this is happening in the markets, how do we deal with it as traders? I mean, how does this crazy volatility affect my trading? What am I trading right now? And also, how are my accounts doing? Because if we look at February, so this here is the beginning of February. Let me just mark this here. Let me see. Look at this. So basically, February has been pretty steadily going down. If we are measuring this in the S&P 500, so from the beginning of February to where we are right now, we are down almost 8% in the S&P 500. If we take a look at this here in the NASDAQ, so let's actually take a look at this. Let's find the beginning of February here, which is right here, 1st of February. Draw a vertical line and see what is happening in the NASDAQ. And here we see that until now, we are down more than 10%, 10.5%. The NASDAQ, by the way, right now, solid in bear market territory, because from these highs to where we are right now, that is a drop of more than 20%. And a drop of more than 20% means that we are in a bear market. So how does this affect my accounts? How does this affect my trading? And what happened here in February? So let's actually talk about this. So I already reported of what happened here in January. As you know, right now, I'm trading 2 accounts. I have the Tastyworks account that I'm winding down. So BA was already called away with a profit in January. UNG was called away. So the only 3 positions that I have there is LVS, ARKF, and RIDE. These are the positions. So I've been able to sell some calls and puts in LVS and ARKF. We'll talk about this in detail. So January worked really well. By the way, if you're interested and would like to know why I am trading 2 accounts, tune into the account update for December. Because this is what I did in the beginning of January. So I'll link to it in the description, and this is where I explain it in detail. So we don't need to rehash it. I said why I'm changing to trade year, how exactly am I moving the accounts, and why right now we are trading 2 accounts. Anyhow, so still, although this account not very actively traded, just managing the existing positions, January was a good month even for this account, $5,000 in profits, and the trade year account, which is the main account here, $24,000 in profits. Now, the trade year account, this is where I put $250,000 in there, and this is what I did in the beginning of January, and I am using margin, so this means that I had $500,000 in buying power to get started with this. Okay, so let's get started, and let's talk about what happened here in February. And we'll look at the Tastyworks account first, and then we take a look at the trade year account, and then we look at both of them combined year to date. So let's switch over to the Tastyworks account, and here you see the start date. I'm putting in the start date here of February 1st until February 28th. And you see what happened here is that I just sold a bunch of calls on LVS. I sold a few puts on ARK. And why would I do this? What is the plan here for ARK? Well, let's just jump over here. I explained it in the previous video. This is where I'm flying a rescue mission for ARK. So the idea here is to sell puts at 28 to fly a rescue mission with the idea of getting assigned and therefore lowering my cost basis from $47.50 to $40.41. So this was the plan here. And as we look back, this is exactly the plan that I executed here. So made around 984. I'm leaning a little bit forward because somehow I forgot to adjust the the font size, and this is why it's a little bit far away. So 4,984. So let's actually put this right in here. So this is 4,984. Oh, no, that's not for the year. This is the February profits, 4,984. And again, this is the account that I'm just winding down, right? The idea here is to get rid of all of the positions and then transfer the money over into the checking account. So not a whole lot going on there, as you can see, and this is exactly as expected. This is according to my plan. And again, your plan might be different. This is why I'm just here to share what I'm doing. I'm sharing my plan. I'm not saying that this is the best trading plan in the world and you have to trade my plan. And if you don't trade my plan, then you will never, ever make any money. As you know, the main strategy that I'm trading is the wheel strategy. And what I love about the wheel strategy is that it has many, many variations and you can customize it to your needs. Anyhow, back to the accounts, and let's actually hop over to the trade year account. Now, trade year does the reporting differently. So what I had to do here is basically just export all of these trades. And this here is January, where we ended up with just shy of $25,000. So in February, I traded, I was assigned in several positions here. So the positions that I was assigned in is CLF, IWM is another position that I'm assigned in, ADI, another position that I'm assigned in. So these are the positions that I most actively traded, as you can see here. So I did a total of 25 trades. It shows 26 rows, but as you can see, the top row is the header row. So 25 trades for a total of $16,384.40. So let's type this in there, and then we can take a look a little bit of how exactly we made these profits here. So 16,384. So not bad. I mean, considering that the markets are certifiably insane. Let's just take a look at this. So as you can see, the positions that I was assigned in, which is ADI, CLF, IWM, these are positions that contributed the most out of my profits here. And this is why I love getting assigned with the wheel. See, some people say, well, I don't want to get assigned. I always roll and roll and roll. And I don't want to own the stock. Well, I do want to own the stock because selling calls, for me, the way how I trade it, is more lucrative than selling puts, as you can see here. So out of the $16,000, $11,000 came from positions that I was assigned in. So if you're just looking at the symbols year to date, so in January, the $24,000 was done with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different symbols here. And then in February, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different symbols here. So overall, over the year, I traded 12 different symbols thus far and made a total of $41,000. Now, as you can see, the ones I marked those that were assigned, let me just highlight those so that you can see it, because assignment for me is fun. Now, assignment, this is a kind of a double-edged sword, because when you are assigned, it can happen that you are experiencing an unrealized loss. And so in the previous video, I talked about a trade here on CLF where I went from minus $20,000 and closed it with a profit of $6,000. And this is just one of these characteristics of the wheel. I don't want to really say weakness. It's just a characteristic of the wheel where you need to make sure that you're comfortable with this. And if you're not, then it might make sense that you're rolling out the puts instead of getting assigned. However, as you can see here, for me, assignment is really the fun part. This is where really most of the profits are coming in. So year to date on the TradeYear account here, let's just do this on the TradeYear account in realized profits. And again, there's realized profits, and then there's unrealized profits, there's unrealized losses, and there's realized losses. So here we're talking in realized profits of $41,000. And if we quickly add up, forgot to do that, of what we have in the other account, in the Tastyworks account, that again, we're just winding down. It was 5,021 plus $4,984. So this is, 10,005. That is a nice round number. Oh, I want to address one thing before I forget and before we move on here. So this is what we have here in realized profits. Now, I saw that some people have asked, okay, so with this Tastyworks account here, well, what happened? Did you have to add money to avoid any margin calls or something like this, especially since the markets are as crazy as they are here? So just want to show this to you really quick. So let's go back here to the account and let's actually look at cash transfers here. So as you can see, this money movement is just the interest that I've been charged on this account here. So we can actually go back, because some people asked this a little bit earlier in the year. Let's go back to October. I think this is where kind of the crazier stuff started. Let's go. Yeah, I think here September, October, right? So this is where some people were saying, well, there's a drawdown here. So did you have to add any more money? So you see there's no cash transfers. There is no deposits. As you can see, 0 deposits here in this account. There is absolutely no transfers that have been made one way or another. As you can see, all I did in this account is, of course, place a lot of trades. And this were in realized profits. We have 37,953 since October, so that you see, yes, that is actually the account and not any other account here. So I just wanted to address this really quick, because there were some people who asked, okay, did you have to add anything? Did you receive any margin calls there during this time in October, November, December, January, February? And now you know, and you see what is happening here. So, I mean, overall, if we go back to of what has been happening, the important thing I believe is that during crazy times here, you need to follow your plan. And this is where I'm following my plan. And in a moment, we'll take a look at the positions that I'm in here. And we'll see, right? I mean, this is where I always say trading is a marathon and not a sprint, right? It doesn't really matter what you do in a week, what you make in a month. I don't even think that it matters how much you make in a year, right? Because if you want to live off your trading profits, you need to be profitable for years in a row. I mean, you cannot just have one lucky year, right? So that you need to make sure that this is happening over year. And this where sometimes people say, okay, can I make X amount in the next 3 months or in the next 6 months? Yes, maybe you can, maybe you can't. The most important thing, and you know that this channel is all about SRC profits. And what does SRC stand for? It's systematic, it is repeatable, and it is consistent. And if you look at the results here, I mean, right now we have 2 months. We have actually the previous year. It's right here, the realized profits that I did last year. And as you see, last year on this account, it was in realized profits $188,040. And you see that there are some months where you're overachieving the goal. Again, my goal is to make $15,000 per month. So sometimes you're overachieving it. So also last January and February was really, really good. Then March hit the number, April missed it. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 months, right, where overall I missed the goal. But if you take a look here at the calculator and we take the 188,040 by 12, then you see that I'm exactly at $15,670 over the course of the year. And this is where you see there's a reason why hedge funds are reporting quarterly. I mean, as you know, hedge funds are not reporting monthly. Hedge funds are reporting quarterly for a reason, right? Because if you look at this here, you see that over the course of a quarter, it basically evens out. So thus far this year, even though the markets are definitely crazy, off to a good start, wouldn't you say? Okay, so before we look at my positions, I know that there's a few questions that have come in and comments, and I want to address those really quick. And yeah, there's David. That's so great. David and I met, when was it? Last week? Time flies, right? At the Traders Expo in Las Vegas. And I'll be speaking again at the Money Show in Las Vegas, which is May 9th through 11th. So I'll let you know more. But just if you are planning on going there, I'll be there. Come by and say hi. And Alex asking, are you still trading the wheel this week? Yes, I am still trading the wheel this week. Actually, this morning was a lot of fun. This week, we have a so-called virtual boardroom where we trade for a whole week with our mastermind group. And boy, this morning was active. Holy cannoli. All right. So let's see. Yeah, Nicole is posting the January update here. Perfect. Ted is asking, do you wait until it hits your 30% so that you get the highest price to get in? Well, this is where I'm using the calculator here, right? So when I'm using the PowerX Optimizer, let me just switch over here, and I'm using the calculator. This is where I see how much money I would make annualized. And you see, this is why, before we talk more about this annualized, this is why it is so important that you have a trading strategy that had SRC profits, right? Systematic, repeatable, and consistent, because it doesn't matter if you have a lucky trade that gives you, I don't know, maybe 100% in 3 days. Maybe today, let's just take a look at these crazy markets here for a moment. Let's go back. Today, for example, a meme stock is coming back to life. BBBY, today, at some point it was up 70%, right? And hey, if you were long BBBY and was able to cash in this morning on 70%, really, really good for you. But can you do this every single day? Can you do this every single week? Can you do this every single month? No, right? It's not repeatable. And this is why I'm calculating my profit here, the potential profit, as an annualized ROI. This means return on investment. All right. Good. So Ted, hope that this helps. Wannabe. Yeah, I know, Wannabe, I know that you're also trading. I hope that you're having lots of trading success. And again, the reason here, why am I doing this? Why I'm sharing it? It's not that I'm here and say, oh, look at me, I'm so awesome, right? I just want to share you what I am doing. And if you like what I'm doing and you like the tools that I'm using, then check it out. Check out the tools that I'm using. And if you trade something else that makes you a lot of money, by all means, keep doing it and feel free to share this and let me know how you're doing, what you're doing. I'm always interested to hear from other traders here. Yeah, I like getting a sign as long as I don't catch a proverbial fouling knife. And you see, this is where, even when you have value stocks, it's difficult, right? I mean, because if we have value stocks, and recently, if you think about stocks like even Microsoft, right? Even stocks like Facebook, Disney, I mean, all of these stocks, yeah, they have been falling. I mean, in a market like this, all stocks are kind of a little bit being hurt here. All right. So we'll see. What else? And yeah, Jet says, nice getting dividends after being assigned and selling calls. That's one additional perk. I mean, it's not that I'm looking for these kind of stocks and saying, okay, I really only look for dividend stocks, but it's definitely one of the criterias. And I did another video on this of how to find the best stocks for the wheel. I'll link to it in the description here and also in the chat. I think I did this in December, so just a few weeks ago, might have been in January. And this is where I show you how I actually use this megaphone here and then Google Finance to see, okay, is this a stock that I do want to own? So here's, for example, Boeing. Then we typically see a PE ratio and a dividend yield, right? And we see of how Boeing, for example, has been doing over the past 5 years. And this way you can quickly see if there are any stocks that you really like. So let's, this morning with our mastermind, we looked at this one here. What is it? Corning. So let's take a look at this. I was surprised. I didn't really know who Corning Incorporated is. And this is where we figured out, oh, these are, they make screens for iPhones, right? And look at this. They're paying actually a pretty good dividend yield. Let me zoom in here. I mean, these days, 2.8% is good. PE ratio of 29, and then if you look at the annual growth and profitability, I mean, really nice, wouldn't you say? So this is a stock that we looked at. And again, I did a more in-depth video about this, so you can take a look at this if you want to. Okay. So Jim says, aside on Friday, not be able to sell calls today with the markets tanking. Seems to have been that way for weeks now. Yeah, but you see this, I mean, very, very typical example. I'm glad that you're bringing it up, Jim. Because I recently walked through the example here of CLF, right? Because CLF, this is where I got assigned, and immediately after assignment, boom, it tanked. I mean, wow, look at this, how crazy this is here. And I did a video on this of what happened here. So it immediately tanked, but then it came right back and I was able to sell calls and puts. Of course, the perfect stock is something that like ADI, right? That I also have in my portfolio, where we are just trading right around the strike price, right? I mean, this, of course, is perfect. We had the same here with IWM. But it doesn't always happen like this. So IWM also at first tanked and then was trading right around the strike price here. So really, really good. So, however, it can happen like with CLF that maybe for a week or two, you're not able to sell any calls. Absolutely possible here. All right, so let's see. What other comments do we have? And yeah, Tyler says, was assigned in 3 positions on Friday. And again, don't feel stressed if you can't sell it right away on Monday or on Tuesday or on Wednesday or this week at all, right? I mean, this week the markets will remain crazy. Just let's wait and see of what's happening, right? Keep an eye on this. I would definitely check it still every day to see if maybe you can collect some premium here. All right, what else do we have? Ted says, what do you do when the 8-week low is the first week? So when it just hit an 8-week low right now, well, then I would wait because so let's go back to some of the examples here that we looked at this morning. Again, Corning, as you can see, this is one of the stocks that we looked at. Let me just bring it up here again. Right, so this is where we see that we had over the last 8 weeks, at around 35.50 was the lowest low. It just recently dipped to around 35, and this is where you were able to sell a put this morning. So if you have something, let's just see if maybe Zillow makes new fresh lows. No, they don't. Just want to see if I can find a very quick example for you here. If not, so if it hasn't established a low over the last 8 weeks, if it just made one today, so for example, if you see something like this, right? If you see something like this, don't trade that, right? You want to make sure that you see some solid support here over the past few weeks. So take a look at Coles, for example, right? I mean, Coles today has a really bad day, but it has been in a range between what around 45 and what 60, somewhere around that, right? So nice range, and you see that today you could easily sell the 45 puts and not a big deal at all. So be a little bit picky here and make sure that you are looking for solid support here. All right. So Chad says all my slots are full, so I'm just selling calls. Sold 2 calls on my positions today. Yeah, I mean this morning I do believe. What did I sell this morning? I was able to sell some calls. I was able to sell a call on Bank of America. Actually, Bank of America got assigned. Was able to sell a call. I was also considering selling a call on IWM this morning. Right. I mean, if you're going back here to the markets, I mean, this morning, if you look at a 5-minute chart of the SPY, or even if you look at IWM here, where we see, okay, so on a 5-minute chart, it first looked good. I mean, now the bottom is falling out of the market, as we just talked about. And we'll see what happens over the next few days, right? I wouldn't really panic when there's one day. I mean, honestly, sometimes the best thing to do on days like today, when the markets are just want to go down. I mean, I talked about it with the mastermind this morning. I said, honestly, if I wouldn't do coffee with Marcus, I wouldn't even look at the markets today because there's nothing that you can do, right? I mean, for me, it is really, as I said, follow my plan. So I'm following my plan. I have to be a little bit careful that I don't spill my coffee here, right? And according to my plan, there's nothing to do right now. All I could do, if I wanted, is sit there and worry, but I'm not the kind of trader who is just sitting there, I don't know, trying to hypnotize the market for them to turn around, because usually they don't. Okay. Good. So yeah, getting assigned at what would normally have a very safe strike price and no call premium, even at break-even prices, don't worry about it today. I mean, really, today, markets are worrying. There's a lot going on in the world. So we've talked about it this morning in the stock market update. By the way, if you want to tune in, we're doing a stock market update every morning. It's live. It's from 8 to 8:15 Central Time. I'll leave a link to this in the description, or just subscribe to the channel. So talked about it. Right now, what is all to worry about? There's oil prices, right? There's commodity prices. I mean, aluminum. Let's just take a look at a few charts here so that you see of what is happening here. So we already looked at crude oil, and then we have what? We have copper that is just shooting up like crazy. It's retracing a little bit right now. We have aluminum. Where is it? Here, right? I mean, aluminum futures also going up like crazy over the past few weeks. We have wheat. I mean, wheat is just going crazy. So we have a lot of commodities here that are shooting up, and this could impact inflation. And this week we have a core CPI, or core inflation report, coming out, the CPI. So this is where right now people are talking a bit about stagflation. The main concern here is really these high oil prices. And we'll see what happens today. I mean, again, they were pulling back a little bit earlier, then they were going back up, and we'll see what happens here. I think that kind of crude oil prices are right now really what's driving the market, as insane as that sounds. But as crude oil price will go up, I do believe that the overall market will go down. So we'll see what happens here over the next few days. Good. All right. John says, I noticed many more stocks in PXO recently. Is this because of more momentum? Yes, and be a little bit careful here. I mean, just look at the overall market conditions. So let's just take a look at this here. So the PowerX strategy, right? The PowerX strategy here is definitely a strategy that works well in a trending market. What do you see right now? I mean, until this morning, over the past few days, this was a really choppy market. Let's see if I can find a rectangle. I thought that somewhere here I have a rectangle. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Doesn't really matter, right? Just wanted to draw this around here where markets have been rather choppy. So I do have 2 energy stocks that I bought, and they have been doing well. So DCP was one of them. So DCP bought in here. You see, it has been moving up nicely, and today it's going crazy. And this is where I would be a little bit cautious right now with this volatility going on. You see, as the VIX here is spiking right now, we are at 36. This is a very, very high level here for the VIX, and it has been as these elevated levels. I mean, I'm still comfortable trading the wheel strategy. I would say just keep an eye on this and be super, super picky, or just maybe wait a little bit if you're trading here the PowerX strategy. All right. Good, good, good. So Progressive Trading says your covered calls are at the money this morning. Yes, because I saw an opportunity. I was thinking about it of maybe going one strike out, but then I thought, no, you know what? Let's just grab the money that is there. See, when you're doing it at the money, you're getting more premium, right? It's kind of the bird in the hand versus the two in the bush. And this is where if it would continue to rocket higher, then you make some money on the stock. But in these market conditions here, I rather have the bird in the hand and collect as much premium as possible here. Okay, so Ted says, when are you doing rescue missions? I did a video on this, and it's called Rescue Missions, where I explain it. I do it usually when I see a stock down from my assignment price, roughly 30%. However, I then want to see that it has found the bottom. So it's not that mechanically, as soon as I see 30%, I'm entering it. So take a look at the video. I explain this in more detail there. And also in this video, I'll explain of why I like to do rescue missions and why I like to do them in 1/3. So not all in, right? But committing a little bit of money to that. Okay. So good. So Kathy says, I was happily surprised that I was able to sell calls on Blink today. Hey, yeah, so sometimes it can happen. You never know. Yeah, David says, he sold BAC, ADI, and BA calls today. I mean, earlier this morning, there was an opportunity. Right now, we'll see. I mean, markets just closed. Let's take a quick look here of where they closed right now. I mean, the S&P, holy cannoli, down 2.96%, so down almost 3%. So looking at a 5-minute chart, we were just sliding into the close the whole day, just down, down, down. NASDAQ, very similar, down 3.6%. That's a big move here today. And the Dow is actually down, 800 points? That's also 2.4%. So even the value stocks here are getting hammered right now all across the board. By the way, super interesting also, if you look at the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin here also down today, 2.3% thus far. Markets are still open for the cryptocurrencies. Ethereum down 3%. That's a little bit surprising. I thought that since today, Visa and MasterCard basically announced that they are suspending all transactions related to Russian credit cards, that there might be some more activity and some more demand in cryptocurrencies. But hey, this is where it goes back to trade what you see, not what you think, right? And what we are seeing right now is that the cryptocurrencies are basically correlated with the stock market. Surprise, surprise, especially with the NASDAQ. So if we take a look at this and actually see the correlation between this and the NASDAQ, you see that there's recently been a strong correlation. And this means that the risk off. So cryptocurrency investments are still considered riskier investments. And that's why that's why right now people are getting out of the cryptocurrencies. Would be interesting to see of what is gold doing today. GC gold. Okay, so super, super misleading. If you look at just the past few months, it seems, oh my gosh, gold is skyrocketing. But then it helps to zoom out a little bit and have a little bit of longer view. And if you look at the weekly view, we see that actually in July, August last year, gold was trading much higher than it is right now. Super, super interesting, don't you think? No, actually, this was here. Sorry, this was 2020, so no surprise there. So, okay, gold, we're getting up there. Commodities, definitely. I mean, all commodities are right now catching a bait and are rallying here. Okay, let's see. What else do we have going on here? So yeah, David says the VIX around 36 right now. Time to buy 23 puts for a few weeks out. You see, if you have a crazy account, I mean, might not be the worst idea. However, I believe that right now the premium is pretty high. If you look at the VXX and options on the VXX, it's probably fairly high here. And this is why, I don't know. But if you have a crazy account, I talked about the 3 buckets here. I'll leave a link to the video here. Talked about that for me personally, I have a trading account or multiple trading accounts. Then I have investment accounts and investments that I do. And then I have a crazy bucket. And yes, in the crazy bucket, I am actually holding some cryptocurrency. So I have some Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also some Solana in there. And again, this is my crazy bucket. It's a rather small bucket here compared to all other accounts. But it's just fun to see what will happen here. All right, so James is asking, sell calls 1 week out at break even versus cost basis in this type of market in order to get the 30%. You see, James, for me, I still do it at the cost basis. I would not do it at the break even just yet. This is really when you want to get out of a trade. And thus far, over the past few years, I only did it twice. Recently, I did it in UNG, where I sold it below my cost basis, but above my break even here. All right. So let's see. David says, don't understand that crypto stock correlation. Well, and again, usually it was said that cryptos are the new gold, right? So this is where it was like the flight to safety should be in cryptos. But if you're looking at this, they're just considered risky investments, and therefore it's almost like value stock, the growth stocks, right? And this is why we see here a little bit of a correlation. So I'm having here the weekly chart of the NASDAQ up, and I'm overlaying it right now, or the other way around. Let's bring up a weekly chart here of Bitcoin, and I'm overlaying this with, where do we have it? Where's my overlay? There, with the NASDAQ. So let's go there, and let's see of what correlation we have here. And you see, if you look at the past few days, yeah, of course, when I'm trying to show it here, but you see we had the high here in the NASDAQ and in cryptocurrencies. And ever since then, we have been sliding. The orange line is the NASDAQ, and this here are the cryptocurrencies. So why is there a correlation? Well, it's basically because cryptocurrencies are considered risky investments. Here we also see it, the NASDAQ, right? I mean, as it made a peak here, we made a peak here as the NASDAQ made a bottom here, made a bottom in the cryptocurrencies. And right now, very, very similar here. So in the cryptocurrencies, we're making, I don't want to say new lows, but we're again back to, where are we right now? 37,000, and we're also down in the NASDAQ. Okay, let me just remove this. Let me see that we can get rid of this and come back to your questions here. All right. So could you please explain what the VIX is? I'll do a dedicated video on this. So just in a nutshell, super briefly here, the VIX is the volatility index. So it's basically measuring how much volatility is priced into the futures markets, into the S&P futures here, right? So, and this is where, just in a nutshell, I'll do a more dedicated video where I go about the nuts and bolts and what all of this means. But the idea here is that when you see these spikes, that there's fear in the markets. It's also called the fear index, right? And the higher the VIX, if you look at this, this was during the COVID crash, right? During the COVID crash, the VIX spiked to 85. So lots of fear and uncertainty in the market. And whenever we see this, and typically what we see, as you can see here, we see a quick spike and then it retreats. And we see a quick spike and then it retreats. And a quick spike and it retreats. And right now we saw a spike. It didn't retreat as much as it usually does, as you can see. And then it was moving higher. And right now it is staying at elevated levels. This just means that markets have a lot of uncertainty. And of course, there's uncertainty. What's going on with the war? How does this impact our economy? Is our economy slowing down? How does this impact our inflation numbers? And as you know, these inflation numbers are already high and elevated. What will the Fed do in response to this? So there's just a lot going on. And if there's too many things that are uncertain, this is when the VIX is spiking here. Does this help? Okay, SJ Singh and less more. I'm still in LVS. Yes, I'm still in ARKF, LVS, and RIDE. And I'm also in ADI, BAC, Bank of America, IWM, the Russell. I am in Tapestry, TPR, and UAL. This is United Airlines. So this is right now what I'm in. All right, so Ted says, when do you see what price you want to do a rescue mission? Do you wait to get the highest price? Not quite sure if I understand the question. Again, what you want to look for is that after prices retreated by 30%, that now you see some sort of a bottom, right? So you don't want to do it while the market is still falling. You want to wait until it really shows here some solid support here. All right, very, very, very cool. Well, again, today was all about my account update so that you know exactly what has been happening to my accounts in February. And yeah, I'm just sharing it with you so that you can keep following along. I've been doing these account updates, I want to say since last January, so it has now been 13 months. If you want, you can go back on the channel and watch some of the others, or you just subscribe to the channel and I'll keep you posted on my positions that I have on the trades that I do, as you know, and it's always been fascinating. Anyhow, if you enjoyed this video, give me a like on your way out and take a look at the videos that we posted in the description, and hopefully we have some videos popping up here. You can take a look at these as well. If you're interested in the wheel strategy, how I trade it, I have a few videos that explain that in detail. And if you're interested in the wheel strategy at all, maybe consider getting this book that I've written. It's again explaining how I do it. And there's so many variations. Just do what makes the most sense for you. Do what you are comfortable with so that you can sleep at night. Because the worst thing is if as a trader, you're staring at the ceiling at night because you're worried about your position. So find a strategy that works best for you. All right. I'll see you in the next update. Take care, everybody.